Hey guys. So if you're lucky enough to end up starting as House Baratheon, I wanted to go over a quick strategy guide for them. I wanted to go over what to do first turn in my opinion. If you have any other ideas, please let me know in the comments. I'm always kind of looking to learn. I also wanted to go over a rough idea of what turn 2 would look like, and then to give you an idea of how are you going to get the castles you need in order to win. So for turn 1, our objective is going to be to take King's Landing, and in order to do so, we're going to need to take out this neutral force of 5. The reason we want King's Landing is because it has a mustering value of 2, which along with your initial stronghold would give you a mustering value of 4. It would also give you 2 crowns, which, including your starting territory, would give you 4 starting crowns, which is fantastic. The first thing we're going to need to do in order to pull this off is a movement into Blackwater Bay. Moving these ships will allow us to land bridge into King's Landing. We're going to need to move the units out of Dragonstone. And we're going to need to provide support from the Kingswood. So let's go ahead and confirm orders here and skip to the action phase. So the first thing you're going to do is move 1 ship into Blackwater Bay. And we're going to go ahead and skip forward to our next round, because we don't really care what the AI does here. The next thing you're going to do is, and this is very important, you want to move your knight into the Kingswood. And then you want to move the footmen into King's Landing. The footman here will provide a strength of 1. The supporting knight will bring that total to 3. You get 4 for this footman. And then the +1 bonus finishes you off at 5, which ties. And you can see the AI here are realizing that the player actually knows something about what they're doing, and they start making alliances. In the case of a tie against the neutral player on the 5v5 here, we end up winning. I go ahead and skip to round 2. So looking at turn 2, generally speaking, the areas around King's Landing won't have any opponents, which means no one's going to be able to raid your consolidate power order in King's Landing itself. Now in this situation, I didn't end up getting a mustering. Otherwise, you could also consolidate power in Dragonstone, and you're not going to have anyone threatening you from Shipbreaker Bay in round 2 to raid that. So ideally, you see mustering come up. You also ideally want to be able to gain power, because you will currently be sitting at 4 power, whereas your opponents will generally have much less. Something really important to do is the movement of this knight. You don't want to put that in King's Landing, because your footman's going to consolidate power, and you want to be able to move this knight going into the next turn. Another thing I would advise is supporting from Blackwater Bay. You can do a +1 support in this case, or regular support's fine. That will provide support to King's Landing, Kingswood, Crackclaw Point, and also Shipbreaker Bay. And it's especially important due to some house cards that you have, which I'll cover in a later video. Moving on to where am I going to get the castles in order to win. Currently you hold 2 castles as of round 2. The Reach is within reach, but that will put you in contention with the Tyrells. Storm's End, I find you can generally take and not get too much pushback from Dorne. That's just my experience. That already puts you at 4. Moving up here, you can go to Crackclaw Point, which along with Storm's End is ideal because that can be supported by Shipbreaker's Bay. Your ship's there. You also have the option of the Eyrie. The problem with the Eyrie is that you'll have to move ships into the Narrow Sea, which is generally going to be taken by Stark. I find that the easier path is to take Harrenhal and potentially Blackwater. Not because Blackwater is going to get you another castle, but because this 2 supply is desperately needed. At that point, if you manage to take the Reach, Storm's Inn, King's Landing, Dragonstone, and Crackclaw Point, and Harrenhal, you just need to push into one more, which would probably end up being River Run, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that's the only way to win. I just think that holding Shipbreaker's Bay, which can support Storm's End and Crackclaw Point. King's Landing is also supported really well by Blackwater Bay. And the Reach, along with Harrenhal, ends up being supported by your ground forces, who are in King's Landing, Kingswood, and Harrenhal can end up being supported well from Crackclaw Point as well. So that's a basic overview of some options available to you as House Baratheon. Again, stay tuned, hit that subscribe button if you want me to go over some of the house cards and do some additional videos like this on the other houses.